is a community consultant who helps build communities for startups and fast-growing companies that want to foster trusted customer relationships and grow. He also hosts 2 podcasts, Community Life and Community ROI, and fun weekly virtual meetups for community builders every Friday between 2 water coolers. Today, he will share how being real, honest, non-judgmental, and a little fun can make your community a place where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. We all know the importance of empathy and active listening in building good communities, but today you'll learn 5 surprising traits to bring to your professional community.
First of all, I want all you to ask you all. Let's talk. I'm not a teacher, and it's really hard to be one talking head without any feedback. So please use the chat. If something is related to you, share it, tell about it. If you have some things to add, definitely do it. I'll be happy to have this conversation together. So yeah, a little bit of my experience. So I've been in community space for 9 years so far, and 5 of those years without even knowing that it's called community. And I hosted 100 plus in-person events. I don't know how many more webinars. And one of the latest things I was working closely with was the conference for freelancers this year in Berlin for 600 participants. And the fun thing that I wasn't there in person. So I was this kind of person, this hacker behind the screen. You know, when you see a movie, there is always an action team, and there is always someone who's opening all the doors and doing all the stuff like with camera, etc. So I was this person who kind of supported my team behind the screen. And the fun thing that one of the participants of this conference shared a post on LinkedIn after the conference and told like, it was the best conference I didn't attend. And you can imagine that it's because of the community behind the conference. And yeah, also you might have heard a little bit about 2 podcasts, as Beth mentioned them. So one is Community Life, is where I ask amazing people from the community world about their life journeys and try to use the word community as little as possible. But also then recently I was like, oh, okay, but we are talking about life journeys, but what about professional stuff? So recently I started the Community ROI podcast, where we finally talk about professional things, how to connect community goals with business goals, and how to really ensure that we're speaking the same language with founders, CEOs, investors, etc. And yes, definitely between 2 water coolers. So this Friday, tomorrow, we'll have 127th edition. So it's fun meetups where you can just come whenever you like, any Friday, and just meet some friends from the community world, meet old friends, meet new friends. And yeah, it's all about having fun. So a little bit about me. I love reading books, a lot of books, and one of them is The Little Prince. And I hope that you really know that it's not a hat. And I also love eating ice cream. Recently, I ate it less, but it's not winter. So I love eating ice cream, especially in winter, because it's not melting. You know, it's so easier to eat it. It's not melting. So let's connect, first of all. If you are here, let's connect. Then you might forget. If you will not forget, let's move it. And think to remember that all the things I'll be sharing today, it's just only and utterly my own experience. All stunts were made by newbie, me, who learned from his own mistakes, and I'm still making mistakes from time to time, just to remind myself how it feels like to really learn. And definitely try this at home, but be cautious. And we all know the main traits of community builders, community managers. So it's empathy, it's active listening, it's like being friendful, being helpful. And I'm talking about like human traits. I'm not talking about professional things. And when you can talk to anyone, when you can become friends with anyone, when you can really understand someone's problem, even if they're not telling you about it, you can always ask them, like being positive, you name it. But let's talk about a little not this usual things, such as having no expectation, being honest, making things easier, being genuinely curious, and being a little silly. Because what the matter in the community if you are not silly with people? And first but not definitely, god damn it, I'm mixing last but not least. So first but not least, um, it's having no expectations. So when I started working in the community world, I was always expecting people to do something. So I'm a community builder, I'm creating the space for you. So I expect you to show up. I expect you to answer to other people questions. I expect you to answer to my personal questions. If you didn't come to some event, I expect you to tell me why you didn't come, etc. And I expect you to be active. But a few years ago, I saw this quote. I don't really remember the author, but if you are the author, please tell me about it. As a community manager, you are the only one who is paid to be active in the room. And I'm like, oh, really? Yes, I'm the only one who is paid to be active here. So why do I expect being active from people? They have lives, they have children, they have their workspace, they have Netflix, they have dogs, they have everything. Like, why should they be active in the community? Why should they spend time in the community? So when I stopped expecting people, it becomes so much easier, because when I was expecting people to do all the things, it was like staying in the corner and waiting for others to come to me. But it's really not that feel. And when you are putting a pressure on people to do something, you repel them from the community. You are not making things easier for them. And the more you ask from them, the harder it is to be a good member of community for them. So when I started having less expectations, it's become so much easier. And I always approach the community in this way, that I show you possibilities, what you can achieve with the help of the community and the connections that you make here. And I encourage you to do something to get something better for you. But it's your choice what to do next. And I have this approach for Between Two Water Coolers meetup. And, we had 126 meetups before. This Friday, tomorrow will be 127th. And I never expect people to really show up. I just invite them. I just propose them like, hey, there is a place where you can meet good friends, where you can continue your conversation with old friends. And I feel like the maximum amount of people who were there were like 28 people, and the minimum were 2. And it's totally okay. People can come each week, or they can come 6 months later. You don't have to prepare anything. You can just be yourself. You can just jump on camera. You can join anytime. Even before, I had this kind of rule when I just started, that how it works. So in Between Two Water Coolers, we have three different. Okay, we have 3 sessions for 7 minutes of one-on-one conversations. And previously I told people, if you are not on time, you can't join. But then I was like, yeah, it's not fair. So you can join anytime you can, but you will just have less good conversations. And the fun thing is that people are still telling me like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't join the next meetup, etc. I'm like, no worries. I'm happy to see you anytime you're able to join. So it's so helpful, and people are joining. When you have no expectations, it's so much easier to join. So if you'll be wanting people to come, it might take a long time for them to come to you. But if you come to them, you can just meet in one place and make this journey together. It's so much easier. Also, I'm not an expert at everything, and I definitely hate being kind of this teacher who tells you what to do. And definitely some things I do better, in other things I suck, but I know that I can really learn from every interaction with every person, and I'm super ready for that. So I do not expect me to know everything. I do not expect people to know everything. It's so much better when we meet where we are and then go from there. So also, it's good to let people make mistakes. But as a community builder, it's like you want to help people do things right. You want to help people find things super fast. And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes you can do this when you are just started building relationships with people, etc. But when you are having already some kind of relationships, maybe you can let people make some mistakes and learn from them. Because, for example, if you tell a kid that something is hot, they may or may not trust you, but if they will touch it, they will learn. So that's the same thing. When someone is asking me, like, where I can find this thing in the community, where I can find this thing in the community, where I can find this thing in the community, it's easy for me to come up with a solution, come up with the link. Here it is, go find it. Yeah, here is a link for you. I have done it for you. But sometimes it's good to like guide them. Oh, hey, here is a search. You can just go there to search, like put the keyword and you'll find it. Definitely I try it first to ensure that it works, and then I tell people to do that. And sometimes it's good to let a kid touch something hot for a few times, because they learn better in this way. And the very crucial thing for me personally is to support people at every step of their journey, not to make things for them, but see what they are doing, and if they need my help, I can really be there. I can really be there for them. And every time they fall, hopefully it won't be super hard, but I'll be there for them, and ready to make things easier. And we'll talk about making things easier a little later. Also very important. Okay, so let's start from this. I really love this cartoon. Is Wreck-It Ralph, and it starts basically with a bad guy's mantra. I'm bad, and that's good. I will never be good, and that's not bad. And there is no one I'd rather be than me. And before, I felt that I have to be super professional person in the community, keep my feelings shut, always show up, talk in a specific way. If someone is asking me a question, I have to answer within a few minutes. And yeah, sometimes you have to, because when you're just meeting someone, you, you want to be the best version of yourself. But the more you kind of go on other dates, the more you show up your real you, and you have to show your real you. And when you are honest, that's what exactly helps to build these personal relationships. And the fun things, when I started showing the real me, okay, not like real me, like 80% of me, it becomes so much easier to talk to people, and it becomes so much easier to connect on real human level, because people see, oh, it's not just a community manager who does his job, but it's a human. I'm like, "Well, okay, yeah, that's work, that's nice." And I'm trying to be honest as much as possible. And I don't mean by that to say everything I think, hurt people somehow, don't care about their feelings, but I'm always ready to have an honest, open, real conversations, and sometimes even agree that I'm wrong. Yeah, sure, like rarely, but sometimes. So there is a TED talk by Celeste Headley, with the title of 10 ways to have a better conversation. First of all, if you didn't listen to it, go listen to it. And she told one, she told many quotes, but one of those quotes is, "There is no reason to learn how to show you are paying attention if you are in fact paying attention." So rephrasing that, there is no reason to act as a real human if you are a real human. So just try to be a real human, and it will be a little easier. Also, it's good to name your feelings. I'm currently reading a book about how to talk to children, and sometimes you can go into denial, like a parent, like, yeah, people, a kid telling you, "Oh, I feel hot," and you're like, yeah, you don't feel hot. Or, "Oh, I'm feeling hungry," and you're like, yeah, you've just ate, you don't feel hungry. But it doesn't always work like that. But the moment that you are sharing your feelings, it's so much easier to open up. Sometimes I'm inviting people to different events in the community, and I'm telling them, "Hey, I invited you like 3 times, and you didn't show up. And I feel like I'm pushing you to participate there, but I don't really want to push you. I really want you to get this value, and here is how it works." So when people see this approach, when people see me like being real me, not just a robot me who are inviting them to conversation, they open up and they tell like, "Oh yeah, I would really love to, but I have this recurring meeting every Friday and I can't just go there." And it helps me to understand like, oh yeah, this person is care, but they just can't. So it helps me to find a solution, which is also good. And I always try to call shit. I mean, like, not in a way that, definitely if I don't like something, first I try to understand it. But if I can't understand it, I'm like, I don't like it. And here is why. So I'm always telling why I don't like something, but I'm being honest with the person. Like, I don't feel I like it. Like, here is why. What do you think? Then we have a conversation. And when we have a conversation, it makes it so much easier. And I don't have to pretend someone. I don't have to remember how I acted that time, how I have to be consistent this time, because it's who I am. When I'm honest, I'm acting honestly. If I'm doing something wrong, I'll apologize and we'll figure things out. But it's super amazing to be honest with people. And also, it's super hard, but gives you great results being vulnerable and honest and ask for help. Sometimes that's the hardest thing. And I remember once I hosted a conference for 700 people, for sales experts, in-person conference, and I had few types of tickets. It was like the lowest, the middle type, and this was like VIP ticket that I hoped no one would buy. But one person purchased it. And in the VIP ticket, there is a speaker dinner. And I'm like, shit, there was only one person purchased this ticket. I don't have money to have the speaker dinner. I'm like, what should I do? Yeah, I should cancel it, but how do I talk to this person? So I just called this person on the phone and told like, hey, thank you very much for your support, but you are the only one person who purchased this ticket. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't have money to have this dinner. Like, let me get this money back to you. And he told me like, yeah, wait a second. So 10 minutes or 15 minutes later, I saw two, or even no, yes, yeah, two more people purchased this ticket. And since it was rather expensive, it was totally enough for me to host this dinner. And this person messaged me like, oh, I called a few of my friends, so they will be there with me. And just being honest and asking for help helped me to kind of like host this dinner and have so much fun with this person and with definitely other speakers. And another one, it's making things easier. One of my friends told me some time ago, Yuri, you make things look super easy, even though they are not. And I'm like, oh, okay. And the fun thing is that people having a ton of problems. So there are different things going on. There are wars going on in the world. And I don't really think that it's a good idea to add more hard stuff to their plates. And also, what I noticed, when people see that something is easier, they can easier deal with hard things. So, when I'm talking to my clients, when we are starting a new community, I telling them that, hey, we can go through each and every detail. We can really create a perfect community growth plan, or we can just have a North Star and start sailing and see where we'll get. And if they say they want a perfect plan, I don't work with them, because there is no perfect plan. Always something will happen. But definitely, you have to have a little more than just start a Slack space. But the fun thing is that every challenge we meet, we solve super easy, because of having this approach, not having things perfectly all the time. And I'm always trying to turn every challenge that we might meet on our way into an opportunity to learn something. So what helps me? First of all, meet challenge with smile, because smile makes everything easier. Before, some times ago, I lost my breath when I met any hard situation I don't know what to do with. Now I start with a smile and like, okay, what can I, or what can we do? And always something that is easy for you can be hard for others. So it's totally okay. Also, it's important to show up and offer unconditional help, to explain things to a 5-year-old, and not search for who's guilty, because finding who's guilty is very hard, and you are not moving anywhere, but searching for a solution. So stop the fire from spreading, solve the problem, then think about how to prevent this in the future. And I have a 4 minutes left, and I have still too much slides. So let me do it super fast. So the first trait is being curious. I really want to know things what people are doing. If someone is playing piano, I want to know how they do this. If someone makes homemade chocolate, pizza, bread, whatever, I'm curious, why do they do it? What do they love about it? How do they do it? I'm not curious about anything. I don't really care what they have for breakfast, but I'm curious about like unusual things for me. For example, like if you are on Duolingo, what languages do you learn and why? And that's exactly what helped me to go through community life conversations. And I'm always telling people that, hey, I'm here to highlight you as a human, but every question I will ask, it's something I want to know about it. It's something I'm curious about you. So yeah, it helps. It helps to have an amazing connection. And I'm always a little bit of egoistical when having those conversations because I ask anything I want. And I'm super honest with that. I'm asking you questions. Please ask me. Please tell me. Also, what is helping to asking follow-up questions, read a ton of books. For example, I've recently read a book about near-death experiences, and the fun thing that I even have on my desktop book with the title Cardiology, a Practical Handbook. So you can imagine. It broadens my horizons and allow to have much deeper conversations. And I'm always, once again, ready to learn from anyone. Last but not least is having fun, because as Oscar Wilde told, life is so much too important to be taken seriously. And from my experience, there are two things that makes you friends: having a good cry together and having a good laugh together. Definitely having a good laugh, it's easier. And it's something that I've recently shared with my team. Because when you're always serious and sharing some things to your product teams, they might think that you harass them. But when you're always having fun, you can laugh together. And there is another example of what I recently shared with one of our community members, because he asked me, what would I like them to do? To write one article or two articles, but in a different time? And I'm like, yeah, I choose both. It was so much easier to answer with this emoji. And definitely it won't never hurt if you are laugh at yourself. Secondly, it's good to share music, and music makes everything better. Create inside jokes, do random acts of fun, and celebrate small wins. For example, if you are having a webinar and no one joined for 15 minutes, yay, we have some problem, let's fix it. But when you face it with fun, with a smile, it's so much easier to deal with it. And you can even see the acronym ACDC from the force of these things. So it's all about music. And there is a lot of great feedback that people tell me, and I just connect it in my brag folder. So I just, when I feel down, I go to this and check up on that. And I really have 1 minute, so I'm super fast. So what's your secret? I'm always burnout, kinda, half truth, half not. But my secret is consistency. So I'm not trying to be amazing. I'm not trying to do all those things every like right away. I'm doing just small steps daily and see where we'll get. And that's exactly what helped to have 126 between two water course meeting, 108 episodes of community life, and hundreds of great connections. And also stay positive. If you are staying positive, it's so much easier to deal with almost everything in your life. And yeah, here we are. Let's connect. So if you can scan this QR code, please scan it. If you can't, I checked. There is just one Yurii Lazaruk on LinkedIn. So just go to search, find Yurii Lazaruk, and let's talk. Let's continue this conversation. And please add a note that you're connecting from the CMX global event. And yeah, useful materials. There are so many useful materials in the CMX community. So just go there and find anything you want. But if you have a specific question, send me a message. Let's connect and let's have a conversation. And thank you a ton for spending this time with me. Yay. And yeah, if we have time for questions, please ask. But if not, ask more those questions in DMs. Best, up to you.
Thank you, Yurii. We don't have time for questions, but can I just say I really appreciate how many memes and GIFs you used in your presentation. It's clear that you're walking the walk and like bringing fun and silliness into every aspect of your work. So thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you.
Bess, why to do a presentation if there are no memes? Yes, I'm totally happy to have this conversation. Thank you very much for having me. And yeah, see you all in the community world.